Good morning, students. So, hope you are studying at your home, you are safe, staying safe at home. You enjoyed your sixth grade. Now, welcome to the grade 7 class. That is of lesson number 1 of the computer, that is computer hardware and components. In this chapter, we are going to learn anatomy of computer, input devices, internal hardware, output devices, external hardware, storage devices. The computers, actually, computers are the machines that perform specific tasks according to a set of instructions or programs. Okay, so it is basically a machine where we give the instructions to the computer and it performs the desired task that we have given to it. Earlier, computers were used mostly by scientists or engineers for complex calculations, and they were too costly. Nowadays, computers are within the reach of every working person. You see the example that we are now getting acquainted to the computers and we are learning to this medium. It has very virtually become a need in every sphere of life. Anatomy of computer. The computer comprises of two major components. Two. One is hardware, second is software. Hardware and software. Hardware, the physical components of computer which we can touch and feel. Like this, we can touch it. We can touch the laptop, we can touch the mobile. Okay, so we can touch and feel are known as hardware. Hardware can be further categorized into internal hardware and external hardware. Obviously, the hardware within this mobile inside, they that will be called as internal hardware, and the hardware which we connect some cord or some pen drive over here or charger, that will be called as the external hardware. The second component of the computer is software. It is a set of programs which controls the internal operations of the computer and instructs the computer about the work to be done. For example, Unix, MS Word, etc. Software can be classified into two main categories: system software and application software. So again, in the software, there are two categories: system software and application software. So, system software is the software which is basically used to build a system, like operating system, antivirus, virus, and application software, the software which we use to accomplish our day-to-day tasks, like Zoom app we are using, Word we are using, Excel we are using, PowerPoint, Scratch we have used, Notepad, games, all these are the application software. Hardware and software are interdependent of each other's functioning. Without these two components, a computer cannot work. So hardware and software are interdependent on each other, and without these two components, computer cannot work at all. For example, without the driver of a hardware and OS kernel, that is, driver means it is a system software which helps us to connect some external hardware to the computer. Like printer, when you connect, there are the drivers of the printer which actually help the computer when it gives the print command and the paper is printed out of the computer. This the information exchange from the computer to the printer. This exchanging the information, that exchange information work is done by the driver of a hardware and OS kernel, a program which directly interacts with the hardware. We cannot use hardware. Similarly, without the processor and the memory, it is impossible for a software to run. So for the hardware, for the functioning of the hardware, we require a software, and to function software to get the task done, we require a hardware. Now, internal hardware. The hardware components that are installed within the CPU cabinet are called internal hardware. See the hardware components in this laptop or in your laptop or in this mobile, inside this mobile, those are called as internal hardware. For example, in the computer, there is a CPU, that is central processing unit, RAM, random access memory, ROM, read-only memory, disk drive. The disk drives are hard drives, Blu-ray disk drives, CD drives, DVD drives, motherboard, network card, sound card, video card, etc. All these are the internal hardware which are inside the computer. First, we will discuss about the motherboard. A motherboard is the basic main circuit board of a computer that holds the most essential components of the computer system. Yes, the motherboard is actually a chipset. It is like a chip. It is like a board where all the components are assembled. They are soldered. Soldering is done and it is done in the industry. The base of motherboard consists of rigid plastic sheet. The board is the mother of all components. That is where it gets its name. Yes, it's a mother of all the components. That's why it is called as motherboard. It serves a single platform to connect all the parts of the computer together and allows them to communicate with each other. Yes, correct. Like school. See, all you are connected with each other through school. Okay, so you know each other through school. So that's like all the components of the computers are connected through through a board. That's why it is called as a motherboard. A motherboard is mounted inside the CPU cabinet and connects CPU, memory, hard drives, optical drives, video card, sound card, and other expansion cards directly or via cable. The motherboard works like a bus terminal, that is, junction of all the devices. All the buses originate from and end up in the terminal similarly. All the activities related to the connected devices start and end up in the motherboard. Okay, so all the devices which start and end, all the buses start at the motherboard and end at the motherboard. Now, what is the buses in computer? Bus is called as a wire which exchange the information, which carries the information from one part of the device to the other part of the device. That is called as bus in computer. A motherboard mainly contains a processor chip, BIOS, that is basic input output system, memory chips, external storage controllers for video display and sound, expansion slots for connecting additional circuit boards. So the motherboard actually contains one, two, three, four, five, and five main things. Before going further, we will see the fact file. Vinod Dham is popularly known as the father of Pentium for his contribution in the development of the Pentium processor from Intel. So Vinod Dham sounds Indian name. He is popularly known as father of Pentium. Pentium is a series of processors, and those processor was developed by the Intel company, and development of this processor done by the Intel company, and this Indian guy Vinod Dham is known as father of the Pentium. Come to the PCI, that is peripheral component interconnect. PCI serves the connection between a computer's motherboard and any connected hardware. The PCI transmits data and power between a computer and the device. PCI introduced by Intel in 1992. See here, this is the PCI card, peripheral component interconnect. That means if you want to connect some external peripheral, this card is used where you will actually connect that peripheral to this card, and then the further processing will happen. The data will go to the processor, and processor will process that data. Okay, sound card. A sound card is a hardware component that is fixed either in an expansion slot or on the motherboard. So where the sound card is fixed, either on the motherboard and on the expansion slot. It controls the input and output of the sound signals. That is, it receives and sends audio signals to and from the computer seat. So we are talking, uh, we are we are using the mic over here. We are using the speakers over here. All the sound which is transmitted and received at your end. This is done by the sound card. A sound card converts the digital data to the sound and vice versa. It means it converts the sound to the digital form and digital form to the sound, human hearable sound, human understandable sound. It enables the computer to reproduce sound or play music through output devices like speakers, headphones, and record audio with microphone. Yes, what the sound functions of the sound card is? It enables the speakers, headphones, and record the audio with the microphone. All these are the functions of the sound card. Separate PCI sound cards are used to get higher quality of sound. If you require some higher quality of sound, you have to purchase a separate sound card for the computer. Come to the know the fact. A card can handle two types of video images. First, it can be used to display two-dimensional image like Windows, desktop, or three-dimensional 3D image like a computer game. So for the like sound card, there is a video card also. If you get the good quality, if you want a good quality of video, you can use the video card. The video card is an expansion card that is used to generate the video output to a display screen. See, we can see the stuff on our computer, on our monitor. So this is possible because of video card, such as monitor, TV, or projector. It is also known as graphics card. Video card is used to enhance the quality of a displayed images. This card contains own processing and memory unit is connected to the motherboard via accelerated graphics port, that is AGP, or PCI peripheral component interconnect connection. So how this card contains its own processing and memory, and it is connected to the motherboard. This card is connected to the motherboard. It is having its own processing and memory, and how it is connected via accelerated graphic port, AGP port. Now what is a port means? You can see here I connect the charger. This is a port where you connect your pen drive to the computer, that is called as port. So where you connect the charging plug of the laptop, that is called as port. So port is nothing but what in real world port is that shipping port, airport, where the exchange of the goods or humans are means goods are done. So that is called as port, where human travel from one part of the country to the another part of the country. So actually, they are transforming one from the one part to the other part. That is called as port. Similarly, that is in computer where you connect some external hardware to the computer. That is called as port. CPU. Now, CPU is the main unit of a computer. It is alternately referred to as a microprocessor. It controls all the instructions it receives from hardware, external and internal devices, and software running on a computer. The CPU is a small piece of silicon chip placed on the CPU socket on the motherboard. So what is the CPU? Actually, the main unit of computer, and it is sometimes it is called as microprocessor also. What it do? It control all the hardware and software of the computer. Actually, it is see, you can see it is small piece of silicon. It is a small piece of silicon chip placed on the CPU socket on the motherboard. Okay. Come to the know the fact. Buses are the wires used by the CPU to communicate with the RAM and other components in the computer. I said already that buses are used to transmit the data from one part of to another part of the computer. So actually buses are called as wires. These are used to transmit the data from CPU to other part of the computer, like a RAM. Almost all CPU have at least a data bus used to read and write the data, and an address bus used to write output addresses. So there are two types of bus, data bus and address bus. So data bus carries the data and address bus carries the address of that data, where the data is stored. Okay. It is usually in the shape of square or rectangle. What? The chip. The chip is usually in the shape of square or rectangle, which contains millions of transistors that perform wide variety of functions. So see, this small chip contains millions of transistors. Now transistor is again an electronic device. It is based on the logic gates. Just remember what is a transistor? It is an electronic device which is based on a logic gate. It works on the basic principle of the logic gate. Okay. The speed of CPU is determined by the number of instructions it executes per second, which is measured in megahertz. So how the CPU speed is determined? How much instructions it executes per second. and it is measured in megahertz, MHz. There are mainly three components of CPU: memory unit, arithmetic logic unit, and control unit. Memory unit. It is the principal storage of the computer. It stores both data and instructions when entered. So what is a memory unit? It is the principal storage of the computer. Means it is the main part of the computer which store. What it store? The data and instructions when entered. So it store both the things, the data and the instructions. Next, arithmetic logic unit, ALU. This unit performs arithmetic and logical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we do in maths similarly the computer doing in this computer does this in ALU. Next is control unit, CU. It controls the operation of every other component of a computer system. This unit also controls the transfer of data and instructions among other units of a computer. What it does, it controls every operation of a component of a computer system. So it controls all the operation of the computer. Like we are moving the mouse, we are typing, we are drawing, whatever we are doing, it controls all the operation of the computer. This unit also controls the transfer of data and instructions among other units of a computer. Next is, I hope students you are understanding this. It's very easy actually. RAM, random access memory. The full form of RAM is random access memory. It is a type of memory that's available for operating system, programs, and processes to use when computer is running. It can be accessed randomly at any time. Whatever information we enter in the computer goes into RAM and remains there until the machine is working. It is volatile memory and therefore data and instructions are stored here temporarily. When you switch off your computer or there is some power failure, the data is completely erased. RAM is of two types, static RAM and dynamic RAM. Okay, now I will read it again, I will explain it, and then we will do something interestingly to understand what is exactly the RAM. What is the RAM? It is a type of memory that is available for operating system, programs, and processes to use when computer is running. So it is actually a type of memory where the computer uses to execute system programs, operating systems, and processing, and etc. Like we are using our memory now to understand this lecture, to read, to hear, to see. So we are using a part of our brain. Consider that is a RAM. It can be accessed randomly at any time. Obviously, the RAM can be accessed at any time randomly. Our part of brain that we can access anytime randomly. Suppose you remember my lecture in the evening, again you are accessing that part of the RAM. Whatever information we enter in a computer goes into RAM and remains there until the machine is working. The information or instructions that we are going to enter into a computer, it first goes to the RAM and it will remain there until machine is working. It is a volatile memory and therefore data and instructions are stored here temporarily. Remember, this is too much important that it is a volatile memory. Volatile means what? After the switch off the computer, the data or the instructions which are stored in a RAM will be vanished, will be deleted automatically. That's why such type of memory is called as volatile memory. When you switch off your computer, there is some power failure, the data is completely erased. Correct. RAM is of two types, static RAM and dynamic RAM. Example, RAM is like a blackboard that is constantly overwritten with the new data. The commonly used calculator is another example of RAM. Yes, correct. See, when you are in the classroom, that your teacher is using a blackboard. Again, the next teacher will come, that teacher will use again the whiteboard. Okay, so we are having the whiteboard usually. So here consider an example of whiteboard. So when next teacher will come, what she will do, or what the previous teacher will do, she or he will erase the data from the whiteboard, or the next teacher will erase the data and it will overwrite it again on the same whiteboard. So that whiteboard is a memory where we used to write. That is called as RAM. Next, that is ROM. ROM stands for read-only memory. It is a type of memory from which we can only read information but cannot write on it. Like if there is something permanently marked on your whiteboard, you have marked PAT, present, absent, boys, girls, total, that are the permanent marks. So that P, that A, that T, that G, that D, we can't erase it. That are written, that are permanent over there. Yes, obviously in below and in adjacent boxes, we are filling the information every day of attendance, but we can't edit the that P, A, T, and B, G. So that is nothing but a ROM that the data we can't erase. It is a non-volatile memory, means as soon as you switch off the computer, still the data will remain in the memory. That's why it is called as non-volatile memory. Therefore, the information is stored permanently in it even when the system is powered off. Data stored in a ROM can neither be modified nor be erased easily. A ROM stores the instructions required to start a computer. See, first ROM is storing all the information required to start the computer. When the computer will start, then RAM will come in the existing. Okay, but to start the computer, ROM is utilized. There are three types of ROM: ROM, EEPROM, and EEPROM. Okay, so example, ROM is like an audio video disk. Once the songs are burned on a disk CD, the disk contents cannot be changed. ROM chips are not only used in a computer but also used in microwave oven and washing machine. See the application of this ROM. Okay, so here are there are three types of ROM: PROM, EEPROM, and EEPROM. PROM is programmable read-only memory. Programmable read-only memory. EEPROM is electrically programmable read-only memory. Elec okay. So EEPROM, sorry, it is a erasable programmable read-only memory. EEPROM, it is a erasable programmable read-only memory. And EEPROM, it is the electrical erasable programmable read-only memory. Electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. There's three types of books. Okay. So we have the ROM on our in microwave disk also, or in the washing machine also. So it's only they are utilized to read the data. Disk drive. A disk drive is a hardware component in a computer that enables users to read, write, delete, and modify data on a storage disk. So disk drive is a hardware component in a computer that is used to read, write, delete, modify data on a storage disk. Storage disk means hard disk on which we read the data, we write the data, we delete the data, we modify the data. It is either built-in or external component of a disk that manages the input and output operations of a disk. So either it will be internally fitted in a computer with the hard disk or the external hard disk. So it will be always with the hard disk. Disk drives are several types, such as hard disk drive, that is hard disk; CD drive, that is CD; DVD drive, that is DVD. So drive means a hardware where we put a CD, DVD, or hard disk on it. Okay. The most commonly used disk drive is a hard disk drive. SMPS. SMPS stands for Switch Mode Power Supply. It is essential for safe running of a power consuming electrical and electronic appliances. So why it is used, that we will going to see why it is used. But the SMPS is switch mode power supply, and it is really essential. See the word essential for safe running of the power consuming electrical and electronic appliances. So where we are using the electrical and electronic appliances, SMPS is essential. How, that we are going to see. SMPS uses a switching regulator to control and stabilize the output voltage by switching the load current on or off. So what actually SMPS does, it stabilize the voltage. The fluctuation of the voltage is stabilized by the SMPS. If not, then our electronic components get burned. It transfers electric power from source AC mains to low voltage direct DC current. So it converts AC to DC. Alternating means to DC current, direct current. It always supplies a well-regulated power to the motherboard and other parts of a computer and saves power. It has a built-in fan to release the excessive heat during the time computer is in use. So what it does, it always regulated power to the motherboard, means it always gives the regular power to the motherboard and other part of the computer. It saves power also. And it has a built-in fan to release an excessive heat during the time computer is in use. So when the computer is in use, it means SMPS is also in use and it is working continuously. So to release the excessive heat in the SMPS, it contains a building fan. You can see the image over here, SMPS. See, it's a power cord, and see this round, you can see this is called as, this is a fan of the SMPS. And this black socket you can see over here, where you connect it with the computer, externally or internally, both. Unregulated power supply, and power supply which comes from the MACV, that is unregulated, it goes to the SMPS, and regulated power supply, computer components. And the regulated power supply goes to the computer component. Okay. So next part, like modem and further things, we are going to discuss it soon in the next session. But let's take a quick revision. Then after the revision, I will share you some assignment regarding this. And after assignment, I will share you a Google test on this up to SMPS. So students, you have to submit the assignment before 3:30 today, and you have to attain the Google test as soon as I share the link on a group. Okay. So let's take a quick revision. What we have done, we have done the anatomy of computer, which contains hardware and software, which further divided into internal hardware like motherboard, PCI, sound card, video card, CPU. CPU further divided into three parts: memory unit, arithmetic logic unit, control unit, then RAM, ROM, three types of ROM, PROM, EPROM, EEPROM, programmable read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, disk drive, SMPS. So up to SMPS we have done. Now in the next session we will go for the modem. What is modem and how it is going to work. So if you have any doubt, we will connect this meeting again with the same ID and come with the doubt. Take a 5-minute break and come with the doubts if you have. Okay, because in the next session is a doubt solving session, and if you have any queries and doubt, or you want to understand, you haven't understood any concept, or you want to know more, join the next session that we are going to discuss or clear a doubt in that session. After that, the assignments and Google test up to the SMPS is important. Take a 5-minute short break and come back again. Bye.